He started out at the Puda Center, and then when standard treatment stopped working, he transferred to the Wilmot Cancer Center for more research-based treatments. His treatments were often delayed or used less than ideal doses due to the complexities of his other medical problems, in particular diabetes. After 6 months, when the doctors decided they could not cure the cancer, they said treatment would prolong his life with quality, so he kept going. After 2 additional months, the doctors told my father that his body could not withstand much more, that though further treatment was still an option, it would most certainly land him in the hospital and perhaps even kill him. So with our support, Dad chose to accept his own mortality and to embrace the opportunity to die on his terms, off of chemo, and at home with his family and friends. He spent that time having what we call the living wake. That's the nuts and bolts of my dad's journey, but I'd like to share a few highlights from his life before cancer and during his battle with it. When my Italian father spoke, his hands flew towards you, dancing his words and applauding your conversation. Later in life, before losing a decibel of his own hearing, he discovered a passion for teaching the deaf. His hands became an even more perfect tool of communication. 25 years and 2 hearing aids later, my hard-of-hearing father was granted an even greater appreciation for the student in the deaf culture he so dearly loved. He taught me to love culture, my culture, other cultures, and food. In the Ortolani house, the two went hand in hand. And boy, did my dad love food. On Thanksgiving, we had to have cardoons, pomegranates, and mixed nuts. That's what his parents did. On Christmas, artichokes, fresh fennel, and Italian nougat. On Easter, Easter bread baked by him, unlike Christ, it never rose. He wasn't a good baker. Family was of the utmost importance to my dad. To him, being an Ortolani meant something. It was something to be proud of and to take seriously. Growing up, as we walked out the door, my father often raised an eyebrow to remind us lovingly, but seriously, that when we walked out through that door, we carried with us the Ortolani name. It was a powerful way of saying, behave yourself. The table was a sacred place to my dad, one where the family came together nightly to break bread, to enjoy my mother's delicious food, to discuss our days, and to listen to my father's stories. All these things being served up in overwhelming proportions. As the years went on, and younger generations of Ortolanis joined the table, we took the opportunity to remind our youngest relatives that he was their great Uncle Vincent. To others, he was affectionately known as Papa, Vincent, Vince, Vinny, Ort, Mr. Ortolani, and to his deaf students in school. During the time of his active treatments, whether at RGH or Strong, I would sometimes take my father to treatment. I had some flexibility in my schedule at the time. I was really happy to be able to help out. I don't have any tangible memories of this time, but I do remember feeling grateful to have that time with him and noting that he had similar relationships with the medical staff, the receptionists, the techs, the nurses, the doctors, as he did with his colleagues at the colleges he taught at. He knew their names, some personal information about their hobbies, their family, and he'd ask about them. He cared about everybody he met. And he usually got them laughing. He was a master at laughing, usually at himself. In his last year, there was nothing that gave him more energy than his family. He spent a lot of time recording family conversations with my brother, in which he told stories of family and friends. In the last few weeks, he requested and collected stories from several family members and videotaped his retelling of them to preserve them. He wanted to ensure that the roots of the family tree remained grounded in the rich soil of Ortolani tradition. He journaled at Gilda's Club and gave each of us, my mom and my brother, a written memory to keep personal to each of us. It was a true gift. My dad was so loving toward my mom. He often commented to her how beautiful and warm and loving she is. It was the little things that I will always remember. You know, mom and dad walking ahead of me in the store, and I'd see my dad gently grab for her hand. Dad fondly repeated stories of their life together, from the first first time they met to the journal that he wrote during his final days. Whenever he said goodbye, he always ended it with, "I love you." He never noticed when my mom got a haircut, but he always noticed how beautiful she is. Neither my brother nor I recall a time when my father ever spoke bad about my mom. While he was dying, my father spoke very openly of his cancer and of his prognosis. He was dying and spoke of it matter-of-factly. It helped those of us who loved him to prepare for it, to tell him how we felt, and to process it, to talk openly about our feelings. The problem was he talked about it with everyone. In the last month or so, my father called a service to cut down some trees in the backyard. There's a long story there, but let's just say he's as good a gardener as he was a baker. So there were 14 bushes that were actually trees that he had planted in 1980 that by 2007 were quite overgrown. He spoke with the arborist and said, "Art, you need to understand, I'm dying. It's very important that you treat me fairly." Art didn't know how to respond. An uncomfortable silence, some stuttering. Well, gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. I can't. Well, the price is, you see, people don't like talking about death. Just because Dad was accepting of it and saw it as a part of the journey of life, he would forget that not everyone could talk about his death like you talk about what you had at the diner for breakfast. My father told us the story. We laughed at him. That was how we expressed our love. And we told him he needed to be nicer to strangers when talking about such morbid things. What my father didn't know was that Art's mother had just died of cancer. Art gave my father more than a good deal, became rather fond of him, and would talk with him when he came to service the property. And Art took care of my mom's landscaping needs for years to follow. My father referred to his last few weeks on this planet as his living wake. The house was a constant parade of visitors, gifts from friends and family. Our house grew so full of flowers that my dad laughingly referred to it as a funeral parlor. The people that came to see him ranged from individuals he'd known since childhood to the people that filled his prescriptions at Wegmans. He took his opportunity to tell as many of these people as possible exactly what they meant to him and how each of them had touched his heart. Even at the end, Dad was determined to make everyone in the room feel like the most important person there. On April 13th, exactly 1 year after he learned he had cancer, he was surrounded by people that he loved and that loved him. After giving everyone his final gift of the chance to say goodbye, and with his loved ones holding his hands and rubbing that bald head we all loved, my father left this earth peacefully and without pain. Even in death, Dad got what he gave. A lifelong teacher who didn't get to reach full retirement, at the end of his life, my father even taught us how to die. The only regret that he had was that he died at age 65 and only ended up collecting 1 month of Social Security that he paid into his entire working life. That really bugged him. In closing, I'd like to end this by saying the one thing that it always sounded better in his voice. But you're a great guy, Vince.